Good day to everyone and our lecturer, Miss Soleha. My name is Praveen and I am from group number 3. Together with me, we have Miss Dayang, Miss Keshini Ravi, Miss Nornisha, Miss Renisha, Miss Siti, and Miss Yuvanisha. Today we will be talking about elections in Malaysia. As you know, Malaysia always have elections when it comes to politics. Because when election happens, the people have the choice to vote, but everyone should vote to get the best politics to run the country. Today, we'll be talking about what types of elections we have, what are the procedures and requirements, and the candidates in Malaysia, and together we will summarize everything for you guys today. And remember, guys, in Malaysia, we have a democracy system by demonstrating through elections. And Malaysia is obviously a democratic country, and Malaysian election is always supervised by the Commission of Election, which is formed under the Article of Constitution, which is under the Article of 114 of the Constitution. And remember, the election is formal and we have a lot of process along with it which we have to follow the guidelines, and politicians who are in the election who is signing up for the election, they must also follow certain procedures by the government, by the commission, by the election commission. We have different types of elections as well. We have federal and also the state level. And when it comes to election, the politics in the election has to be compromised by the politicians who is standing for the election, and we also have all different kinds of members of the party of Malaysia government who is also in the election, standing for the election, and they'll be asking for votes by the people. And when the people vote for this certain politics in the election, they will win the election. For those politicians who win the election, they will be a member of the parliament. So without further ado, let's welcome Ms. Dayang to talk about the types of election in Malaysia. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Kishini. Today I'm going to explain about the types of election in Malaysia. Okay, the first, federal level of elections, that is held to elect on 222 members of Dewan Rakyat. Majority party in Dewan Rakyat from federal government. Candidates select based on first past to post, that is FBTB system. It's conduct on every 5 years. Prime Minister may request to YDPA to resolve the Parliament yearly at any time before 5 years periods. Okay. The second types of election in Malaysia is state level election. It's elect member from state legislative assembly. Different state has a different number of representatives, such as 71 electors from Sarawak and 50 from Perlis. Candidate selected based on first past to post, that is FPTP system also. Majority party in state assembly from state government. Each state had an option to hold election.
Assalamualaikum and hi everyone. I am Dayang Syafiawan Sahanan. Today I'm going to continue about another two types of election in Malaysia. Basically, there are four types of election in Malaysia. The first one is known as federal level election and the second one is known as state level election. Those two types of election has beautifully presented by my member, Miss Kishini. So now let's look for the third and fourth type of election in Malaysia. The third type of election in Malaysia is known as local government election. Local government election was held to elect member of local government or whereas those members will be sitting as a board of director for the local government or authority. However, this local government election was no longer held. This is because it has been suspended after Indonesia-Malaysia confrontation in 1964. The suspension never lifted and instead being permanent according to Local Government Act 1976. Therefore, the local government are now matter with state government. To the last type of election in Malaysia, which is known as by-election. So basically, by-election was held if there is any particular seat vacant either in Dewan Rakyat, which is known as House Representative, or Dewan Undangan Negeri, State Legislative Assembly. The vacancy of seat in both Dewan Rakyat and Dewan Undangan Negeri can occur due to few factors such as the death of the member in the parliament, disqualified by member within parliament, absent of every sitting of Dewan Rakyat for 6 times without leave, and last but not least is self-declaration to vacate the seats. So therefore, out of those 4 type of election, the most common election that we have now is federal level election, also state level election. And as a Malaysian people, I think it is important for us to play our role as well as fulfill our responsibility by taking part in those elections. That is all from me. Thank you so much. And now I'm going to pass this presentation to my team member to talk about procedure and requirement of election in Malaysia. Thank you so much.
So, for the procedures and requirements of election, there are total 5. First of all, nomination. So, there are 7 members politically election commission that has been appointed by the Yang di-Pertuan Agong following the advice of Prime Minister will supervise an election and publish a notice that specify a date on which candidates for selection are to be nominated. So the date is referred as the days of nomination. First day of nomination should not be less than 4 days after date of notice publication, and date for the poll to be taken for polling day should not be less than 30 days after last day of the nomination. So for the second part of the procedure and requirement, it is campaign. Once nomination of candidates for election has been done, therefore all candidates will then perform a campaign to promote their manifesto. Campaign usually set for 10 days, whereas it shall be between the day of nomination and polling day. Along campaign, candidates or their agent are not allowed to act or speak in a manner of prejudicial to the interests of the party and forbidden to offer any inducement in order to win votes. Therefore, in campaign process, candidates are required to speak and act politely as well as not to touch on sensitive issues. In addition, candidates can spend up to 200,000 ringgit Malaysia for parliamentary elections and 100,000 ringgit Malaysia for state level election. So for the part 3, part 4 and part 5, I would like to pass to Miss Siti Khairunisa.
Hi, I'm Siti Khairui and I'm going to continue with my part, which is election of polling day. Only registered voters can vote, age 21 and above, and present ID card to verify identity. On the election of polling day, there were few requirements that needed to be followed by the voting centre, which is list name on electoral board is eligible to vote, must above 21 years old, and present identification card as approved. So next is total number of voters must same as votes cast, and the counting will done by the presiding officer. Each the voters are allowed to vote for one candidate only, and no indelible ink will mark on the voter's left forefinger before a ballot paper is issued to voters. And also the total number of ballots should be same as the number of vote cast. Every ballot paper has a serial number, and agent may check that the serial number. Counting of the ballots is done by hand by presiding officer. And the last one is a result announcement. All candidates agree with results once count of votes done. And announcement through media. Election election results are also announced through live broadcast, which is radio and television. And the requirement of media election is very important as to ensure all updates are delivered to instantly to citizens in Malaysia, which country that have the election day. Thank you.
Hello everyone, my name is Renisha and today I would be talking about the eligibility of voters and candidates to participate in Malaysia election. The main important thing is that every candidate that is about to cast their votes would have to be a true Malaysian citizen with at least at the age of 21 years old and above. And main thing is that the voter will have to be a registered candidate in the system. How does the system work is that 2 months or rather few months before the election is about to take place, an email or an update will be sent to that respective candidate to register their details and to register to cast their vote. That's how their names would be included in the system. Also, people with unsound minds such as unstable mentality or rather due to any serious sickness that they are not able to think on their own will not be eligible to cast their votes. To cast their votes. At the same time, even people who is convicted for any offence under the election offence of 1954, you will also not be eligible to cast your votes. Moving on to the candidate category. In order to be a candidate, to be selected as the candidate, or to be a candidate, you will have to be at least 21 years old and above. That is how it is mandatory for an age of 21 years old and a Malaysian citizen to participate or to be selected as a candidate. Also, the candidate will also need to be corruption free and clear from any criminal act. In order for you to be a candidate, your name will have to be clear and you should not have any criminal records. Lastly, the candidate will have high sense of humanity in serving the nation and responsibility. Being a candidate or being volunteered as a candidate takes a lot of courage. Therefore, you have to be fully mentally and physically prepared to be a candidate or to be voted as a candidate. That's because you would carry half of the responsibilities of the nation. So here are the eligibility of voters and candidates. I will further pass this to the next presenter to proceed with their presentation. Thank you.
Assalamualaikum madam, my name is Nonisha Bettina Shardin. I'm doing the summary part. Objectives are all achievable. Within perspective of views about the elections in Malaysia, enhance thinking ability in interpreting information of facts, both sense of responsibility as citizens and voters, understand executions of democracy through elections. We as a Malaysian citizen, we has a responsibility to vote the voters to give our best so that they can bring our country in the best level. Thank you.